You know, I got to admit something to you. Lately, I just can't get Paul Ryan's words out of my mind. Now, not his stirring and inspirational speech to the 2012 Republican convention. Remember, he was the vice presidential nominee back in 2012. He laid out his claim as the Gen X conservative leader we've all been waiting for. Yeah, I'll admit it, it was inspirational to have someone of my generation rise to a national ticket and finally transcend the disastrous boomers who'd been leading our country down a miserable path. That Paul Ryan was motivating. He finally spoke for the issues that mattered to me, and he promised to represent those values on a national stage while fighting for the principles that we of the Reagan youth in the 80s had come of age embracing with our full ideological might. Sadly, it seems, that Paul Ryan is no longer in the room. Now, the words of Paul Ryan I'm now fixating over are from his appearance on CBS News last week when he declared that some culture war issues are really beneath him and not worthy of his valuable attention.
Can I get your thoughts on that movement just quickly? I know we have to go, but Republican lawmakers around the country are pushing legislation when it comes to banning books. It could be trans rights. Call it anti-woke, or however you want to label it. Is that a good approach, a good strategy? You're a football fan. Is that the way you should approach it?
Yeah, I'm not a culture war guy. I think it's really polarizing. Look, on some of these issues, I'll side, with the anti-woke crowd. But to me, I'm worried about a debt crisis. I'm worried about, the future of our country and China. There are big policy problems that we need to tackle if we want to have a great 21st century for this country. My work at AEI, Notre Dame, and my Poverty Foundation is all about poverty and upward mobility. What I worry about are the big policy challenges that are going unresolved or made worse by Joe Biden. So that's why I want to win this election so we can actually fix these big policy problems. Yeah. Cultural war politics is good primary election politics. It's very divisive, but it's effective politics. It's effective politics. I'll grant you that. But for me, I'm an old Jack Kemp guy. I believe in inclusive, aspirational politics. Solve problems. We got huge problems.
Yeah.
So we got a debt crisis coming. We got to get on top of that. Neither Biden or Trump are good on this issue. So both of these people.
Oh, shucks. It's good divisive politics, but it's good politics. You know what that means? If something's good politics, you know why it's good politics? Because people agree with you. And they're motivated to vote for you because you're standing up on those policies. That's what good politics means. Now, it should also be noted, and I'm sure you caught it, that the actual question posed to Mr. Ryan was about Republicans pushing legislation on banning books. And that was a great opportunity for Mr. Ryan to immediately expose that disgusting lie by explaining that no one is banning books. On the contrary, any book you want that Republicans have concerns about are readily available to you if you want to purchase them and make them available to your kids. They're probably available in the city or county library. This is about our schools' libraries. Republicans have judiciously determined that some books might not be age appropriate for school libraries. Like porn. Porn books that are being forced in the face of 10-year-olds. But no, Ryan let that slanderous lie go on, and he preened about how he's not that type of Republican. Those people. You see, Paul Ryan is the kind of Republican who isn't divisive. He works with his Poverty Foundation to lift people to upward mobility and to focus on the threat from China. He can't get his hands dirty in the culture wars. When Democrats said that Paul Ryan was going to push grandma over a cliff in a wheelchair, that must have really left a mark. And he's really making up for it now. It must be nice to live in Paul Ryan's world, right? Paul Ryan's world is a place where taxation, government spending, inflation are way more important than children being told they'd be happier if they would take chemical castrating puberty blockers to change their sex. Paul Ryan doesn't live in a world where pornographic manuals detailing homoerotic sex acts with vivid visual aids are introduced to his children at a tax-funded government school, but you and I do. Paul Ryan's world isn't a place where parents are investigated by the FBI as domestic terrorists if they raise their voice at a school board meeting, while they try to get their children back into a classroom after an unnecessary, devastating lockdown. Paul Ryan can't worry himself as a culture war guy because his 5-year-olds aren't forced to dance with a drag queen at his local library. Paul Ryan's world still has Toy Story or Beauty and the Beast movies for his kids, while your kids have Disney content celebrating same-sex marriage and gender non-binary characters. Over there in Paul Ryan's world, school counselors and educators don't keep secrets of the most intimate sexual nature with his 5th graders without the knowledge or consent of Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. Oh yeah, he doesn't have to worry about what undisclosed sexual tidbit his elementary school teacher has coaxed out of his little girl behind his back. How wonderful must it be in Paul Ryan's world, where he doesn't have to dirty his hands with those icky, mean-spirited, divisive culture war issues. How liberating to be Paul Ryan, spend his energies lifting people out of economic poverty, while the rest of us try to save our children from moral and cultural poverty. You see, Paul Ryan still lives in a world where even Democrats agreed there was a difference between men and women. Hell, Paul Ryan still lives in a world where Democrats would define what a woman is. Paul Ryan still lives in a world where even Democrats would agree that some topics should be off limits for our children. I wonder, does Mr. Ryan think we enjoy engaging in these topics? Does he think we relish the opportunity to petition our school board representatives about outright porn in our children's school library? Does he think we'd rather focus on preventing genital mutilation rather than fixing what he calls big policy problems? Does he think we all high-five each other when we learn about another child who's been secretly transitioned without a parent's knowledge because we've got a new issue that'll be great primary politics? What a shameless and despicable insult. No, Mr. Ryan, it's no fun over here in the culture wars. I envy your ability to dodge the draft and flee to Canada, or Manhattan, I suppose. We wish we could join you as a conscientious objector. But the fact is, we didn't start this culture war. We were secretly attacked on our own soil, and we were caught flat-footed and unprepared because high-minded, big-picture Republicans like you were surprised by the enemy, an enemy that was right under your nose all the time, an enemy that was plotting this war, that was plotting this secret attack, plotting it while you were looking at them, and you were ignoring it. You were looking the other way. You left us vulnerable. We were counting on you. We are in this culture war because you refused to acknowledge that the war drums were beating on our very shore. No, we didn't start the culture war. And we sure as hell would rather not be fighting it. We'd love to live in your world, Mr. Ryan, but we can't afford it. We're going to fight this culture war whether the Paul Ryans of the world approve or not. Because if not us, then who? Clearly not Paul Ryan. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight. You're watching the Salem News Channel.